Welcome to all of you who have joined this webinar on self-management practices in companies. We will explore how this trend calls for more deliberate personal development work at the workplace. We will also look into topics as coachability and coaching and connect them to things like awareness, self-compassion, and vulnerability. And we will also look into how a company that adopts self-management principles approaches this and how they have decided to work and implement these practices in their organization. So before we start and present ourselves, we would just like to hear where you have connected from, since this is an event that invites people from all over the world. So if Cindy, if you just help me to check from the chat, could you just write, I would say the country maybe?
Vancouver Island.
Once again?
Vancouver Island.
Is that up here somewhere?
Yes. I think near
a little bit further down.
Okay, this is like I will do my best shots. So I will maybe if we take 10 enough, if I make 5 of them, then we may be okay. But okay.
Okay.
Canada.
Mumbai, yeah. India.
Yeah.
Mumbai, India. South Africa. Greece. Rome.
We are located in Sweden, Emily and Eva-Lotta and I.
Definitely. Yeah.
There's California, Florida.
Germany, yeah, Germany and Prague. Boston, California.
We had Prague.
Argentina.
Argentina.
Yes.
Oh, then we are here.
Yeah.
Great. Maybe we're fine there.
It's okay.
No one from East Asia, Australia. It's like the time zone issue, maybe. Great. So welcome everyone, and wherever you're connecting from, you're definitely welcome to this webinar. And now I will just try to clear this and move on to present ourselves. We are Emily and Eva-Lotta and myself, Lennart, and we are connecting from Sweden. I work as an organizational consultant and a leadership coach. So I coach individuals and teams, and I also work as a leadership trainer, tutor, and as a change facilitator. I have a background within Gestalt therapy and Gestalt in organizations, and also coaching and mindfulness. So I'm happy to have Eva-Lotta and Emily with me, and Eva-Lotta especially because she has experiences from personal development work that are similar to mine in many ways, and yet she comes from a completely different background. She comes from theology, which is very interesting, I would say. And we also have Emily with us, who comes from FindWise, which is this company that we will look into today that adopts and cultivates self-management principles. And she has a key role there in developing the culture and the practices in that organization. And Emily and I are also, we have also started up a network for self-managed companies in Sweden, where they share experiences and learn and grow together. So Eva-Lotta, if you want to present yourself a little bit more.
Yep. I'm Eva-Lotta, and I have my background in theology, as Lennart said, and my heart is in the Christian mysticism and the Buddhist psychology. And I'm always working with self-development on a very deep level. I am a coach, and I work with the nonviolent communication, empathy, and courageous vulnerability as tools. And I work with individuals and couples. Yeah.
And Emily.
Yes, and my name is Emily Okada, and I currently have the role as a global talent manager at an IT company called FindWise. And at FineWise, as Lennart just mentioned, I'm responsible for the whole employee journey with a lot of focus on the culture work, employee engagement, and basically how to make the company to a great place to work. And I absolutely love working with these kinds of questions. And I've helped to create and drive many of the talent management initiatives for the company for the last 8 years. And just to give you some quick hard facts about FineWise, we are currently 130 employees, and we operate in 3 countries, Sweden, Denmark, and Poland. And actually, this year we are having our 15 years anniversary. So we have been in business for 15 years now.
Great. Happy birthday. My cat is actually 10 years today. So we have like two celebrations to make. Great.
Woohoo!
Yeah, this webinar, just to give you some practical things around it, will run until for 60 minutes approximately. There might be a need for us to go over like with 5 minutes or maximum 10 minutes. We hope that we don't have to do that, but depending on how things float. We will interact with you during the session by asking questions to you, and you will be able to respond to them through the poll that will be presented and also through the chat box as you've already used. And then after the session, we will keep the webinar open for a Q&A session. So there will be, you will have us available for any questions or comments or dialogue afterwards. The ones of you who are able to stay and wants to continue the dialogue. So that's a little bit about the practical things. So let's get started. And before we start to talk more about self-management, which is a word that we have already mentioned a couple of times right now, self-management, I mean, it's a broad definition. It's a broad concept of different things. We have, I mean, our views on how we relate to it, but we're very interested in hearing how you relate to self-management. What do you connect that with? What does it mean for you? So if you would like to write 3 words that you connect with self-management in the chat box, we would be happy to hear from Cindy what your thoughts is on this topic so far. And Cindy, you could just, when you feel ready, just give us some reports from what's happening in the chat and what kind of words that come up.
Cindy vanished, it looks like. I'm not sure what happened, so I'll just talk about it.
Okay.
Yeah, so we have discipline, self-care, commitment, boundaries, self-awareness, responsibility, presence, intention, self-awareness quite a few times, actually, organization, resilience, freedom, flexibility, self-care, balance, self-awareness coming up again, confidence, organization being, self-awareness, I think, is the biggest one, and presence.
Ah, great, interesting. We will actually, we will really connect to these, the most of these words, I would say, during this webinar. So interesting to see that there are a lot of commonalities here.
Yeah. So Emily and Lennart, how would you define self-management? You could start, Emily.
Well, self-management for me is about knowing who you are. So basically, what's important to you, and to be able to use those strengths in different contexts, like at a company where there will be a certain culture and certain behavior. I also see that the communication part is very important in this. You should not only know what's important to you, but by using communication and by expressing those to people you work with, I believe you can build a higher level of trust and safe environment for people working there.
And Lennart, what would you say?
Yeah, I recognize a lot in what Emily say, and I would say that it's really about self-awareness, as she mentioned, and as we heard from the chat as well. It's about being aware of what is needed, you could say, and being able to respond to that need. That would be my own needs. That would also mean that I'm attentive and being able to respond to my colleagues' needs, the needs of my team, and also be able to connect with my organization as a whole. So it's about being aware and taking responsibility, basically. And traditionally, we could say that a lot of these responsibilities, expectations are put on a few managers in an organization who are supposed to direct the rest of the people in the organization. And the self-management approach, when it comes to organization, it expects and enables everyone to take leadership for themselves and for the whole, with no or very little management from, or direction from management on hierarchical levels above. So it's very much about treating adults as adults, and it's about supporting people to use their full potential and also to grow it, I would say.
It sounds both interesting and fascinating in many ways. So could you please tell us more about why self-management is so important? Maybe Emily, you could start again.
Well, I agree with Lennart and what you said. For me, it's about trust and believing in people's full potential. The world is constantly changing, and we cannot really afford the time spent in often complex way of taking decisions. And my experience is that decisions are often taken in different management layers, far, far away from people that actually have the knowledge to solve the challenges. So I believe that with a mindset that allows people to actually spend time on self-reflection and believing that the right things will be done and let people take the responsibility for the actions, I think we can build better work environments where we can see higher level of employee engagement.
Yeah, and I also think that we're facing a reality where things become more disruptive, more fast-paced and uncertain when it comes to business, and we can't rely on a few people being superheroes or managers being the ones who are capable. We need the many to take responsibility and initiative and to lead. To me, it's also important because I believe that putting this trust and expectation on people also open up for personal growth and development in another way that would be possible otherwise. So our workplaces don't just become places where we are supposed to deliver fantastic products and services. It also becomes a vehicle for human growth and to connecting with our highest potential and our own authority and inner guidance. So that really resonates with my purpose and what I want to contribute to. So I think that as we spend so much time at work, the time we spent there should also be time spent on moving humanity forward and finding meaning and growing as persons.
And I know, Lennart, that you think that for this to happen, we need to be both coachable and coaching. So what do you mean by being coachable and to be coaching?
Yes, I know that there are different definitions on this as well, but I would say that to be coachable is to be, it's about me being willing to grow and learn, and by trying to become aware of myself, by reflecting upon myself, and also by trying new behaviors and to learn from the insights that comes from that. And I would also say that it's about being willing to invite other people in supporting me in this process. So that would be to be coachable, as I would like to define it. And to be coaching, I know that probably most of the people who are joining today are quite familiar with coaching, so I won't go deeper into that. But that's about a willingness and an ability to support people who want to grow, to actually do that based on a coaching approach. So yeah, that's how I define it.
Yeah. So I would like to ask you, Emily, how can coaching and coachability be facilitated at workplaces?
Well, first of all, I think it's important, of course, to have a clear purpose, so we know why we go to work. But I also think it's about building a culture to allow activities that could help you grow. So activities such as coaching and being coachable. So if we take FindWise as an example, we have 3 core values that should guide us in our daily work and help us create a culture that should support the purpose. First of all, we have trust, which means we trust each other to do the right things. We have fellowship, which means that we care about each other. We also have curiosity, which means that we seek knowledge and are open to new innovative ideas. And we have spent a lot of time together to identify and describe these words and what they mean for us. So I think this is one of the keys to create a shared view of the culture. And to help each other grow, we have organized ourselves into talent management groups. So everyone at FindWise has a talent manager that has the responsibility to coach and guide employees, or the talents, as we call them, in their talent journey at FindWise. And the talent managers have some responsibilities. They should make sure that the talents have a healthy work-life balance. They should also make sure that they support the talents in their goal creation and alignment. So all the employees have personal goals to actually support themselves and the organization. You also have the grow and develop part, which means that you should support the talents to become the very best. And also make sure that we collaborate with each other, because that's one of the keys as well. We are a learning organization, and collaboration is very important for us. And to support the talents in all these areas, we have personal development meetings. Those are spread out over the year. We have both formal ones and informal ones, where the talent manager practice coaching approach for learning and development. So all the talent managers FindWise have had training in the coaching approach, where they have practiced the coaching approach model in real-time scenarios. And during that sessions, we also practice some feedback training. So we together can help each other grow and be more confident when we go back to doing this coaching session on the talents. So the idea with all this is that the talent manager should not be seen as a traditional manager, in that sense that they should have all the answers to things. But by having this open mind and the coaching approach, we believe that they can help develop the talents. And this goes back to the culture and the values that we just described earlier. And being coachable is also included in the culture. I think it's important that talents have the understanding that the talent manager will not come with answers, that you have the understanding that you own your development at FindWise, not the talent manager. Another thing I'd like to add as well is that we also spend some time in feedback training for the whole company. And the goal for these sessions has been to create a feedback culture at FindWise, so we can be able to help each other grow. But to be honest and transparent, we have still some work to do, and the challenges has been to find time to actually do the feedback and allow time for reflection. I think this has to be incorporated in the daily work. It's not just enough to have this feedback training, give you the tools in the hope that people will actually understand and use these tools. I think this needs to be, as I said, incorporated in the daily work.
Yeah, thank you very much, Emily, for this review. Lennart, to become and to be coachable also means to open up and to be vulnerable. And to be vulnerable is something we often hesitate to do and also avoid. So how could we address this and facilitate such a process where vulnerability can be a part of?
Yeah, Emily, she mentioned that they really try to create a culture at Findwise where they cultivate trust and fellowship and curiosity. So I would say that that is really a crucial part to create a culture where people can be open and vulnerable in a way that is met by other people around them in a supportive way that leads to growth and development and learning. And I would share would like to share a way to look at that, and it comes from Amy Edmondson, who is a Harvard professor, and she has done a lot of research on teams and what creates both well-being and also performance in teams. And one important factor that she has identified is psychological safety. And that's about to what degree I feel that there is a risk that I will be punished or humiliated for speaking up in different ways. It could be by sharing my ideas, sharing my views, asking questions, raising concerns, sharing mistakes that I have made, and so forth. So that's one important dimension in these cultures, you could say. And another dimension that she points out is the accountability part. And that is to what degree we are committed to create value together, and to what degree I hold myself and others accountable for doing that, and holding myself and others accountable for responsibilities that we have taken on, and also agreements that we have made with each other in different ways. So if we look a bit deeper into this, and if we connect high psychological safety with low levels of accountability, then we have something called the comfort zone. So this is where I feel comfortable saying anything, sharing anything. It's like being with close old friends. But at the same time, in this zone, we don't have any commitments to produce anything together or to achieve anything together. So we don't have anything to hold each other accountable for. So we will not challenge each other in any way, and we will not grow and perform related to that either. And then if we look at having low psychological safety and low accountability, that's something we can call the apathy zone. And this is where I become quiet, I freeze, I shrink, I stay off the radar. So this is where we don't experience meaning, and we don't experience connection with people around us. So this is a very very bad environment to stay in, actually. And then if we combine high accountability with low psychological safety, which I think is quite common at many workplaces today, this is where we experience a lot of expectations on us. We feel a lot of pressure. We are held accountable for many things, but we don't feel comfortable taking any risks to talk about what is needed to talk about. So we're afraid of being seen as weak or negative or incompetent and things like that. So we don't have this trust in our environment. So we don't express ourselves openly either. And this will lead to consequences when it comes to well-being and to performance as well. So if we then move to combining high psychological safety with high accountability, then we're moving into the learning zone. And this is really where growth creativity and learning takes place. This is where it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to raise your voice. It's okay to be vulnerable, and you will be supported in a really good way. So this is about high trust and fellowship and curiosity, as you have decided to really focus on in your culture, Emily. So this is an environment where we are both coachable and coaching, and we can also challenge each other in a constructive way, and we can handle conflicts in a constructive way. And that's also part of the coaching, I would say. It's both to be supportive, and it's also to be able to challenge each other in a constructive, helpful way. Yeah, and when we talked about this, we were a bit curious about all the ones who are participating right now. In what kind of environment do they like identify themselves right now? So this is a completely anonymous poll that we will just put out right now, and just please share with us what kind of zone that you experience yourself at work when it comes to psychological safety and accountability. Let's see if I can share this in the way I hope.
I can hop on there if you want me to.
Yeah, could you? So
Yeah,
what
yeah,
are your experiences work? Please select one option in the poll, and I think I'm able to share it actually, Magda.
Yeah, but hold on. Yeah. It's in progress right now. So hold on, let
Okay.
people vote first, and then you can share it.
Yeah, it's already out there.
Yeah.
So things are happening here. Interesting.
Yeah, so we'll share this as soon as the poll ends. We can share the results. So everyone on maybe 10 seconds, and then I will close
so 10
it.
seconds to finish it.
Okay. 3, 2, 1. All right, I'm ending the poll, and then I can share the results.
Yeah. So we have half of the people in the learning zone, and that's really great. We're happy for you, really. And there's also a spread. Not so many in the apathy zone, a few in the comfort zone, but also quite a few in the excited zone, actually. So yeah, that's interesting to see, and thanks for sharing your reality at the moment. I will see if we can close it. Is it still in the view?
Nope, I stopped sharing it. We're back to your screen.
We are. Okay, thank you. So we have talked a bit about the importance of having a supportive culture with high psychological safety in order to enable self-management and in order to be able to work in a coachable and coaching way. But how can we start to create psychological safety on a personal level? And what inner work is needed if we would like to try to do that? Eva-Lotta, what would you like to say on that?
Yeah, we can go back to the yeah. Thank you. I would say that you need to provide yourself with the psychological safety as well, because if you are harsh on yourself, you will suffer and feel insecure and get stuck in the anxiety zone. Because if you risk being criticized by yourself, you will be less willing to open up and to look at yourself because you don't get the safety that you need. So I would say that empathy and self-compassion are crucial here. If you want kindness and understanding, you also need to give that to yourself. It's about listening to yourself with respect and love. So we would also like to ask you participants to another poll. To what degree do you provide psychological safety for yourself? Could we put out this poll? Yeah.
Yep.
And the questions are: I'm always kind, loving, and understanding towards myself. I'm generally kind, loving and understanding towards myself. I'm often harsh, critical and judging towards myself. And I'm always harsh, critical and judging towards myself. So you're welcome to fill in your results on the poll.
Mm. Seems like people are quite fast. Some are.
Yep.
Yeah.
So like 5 more seconds. I think we'll be in a good shape.
Great.
Everyone, please vote. If you aren't seeing it on the screen, just click on your Zoom. 4, 3, 2, ending poll and sharing results.
Hmm.
Hmm.
So we have, yeah, half are generally kind, loving, understanding towards themselves here.
Yeah, no one
And-
is harsh all the time. That's great to hear.
Yeah, that's really good to hear.
Yeah.
Really, we're happy for that. And we have some people also perceiving themselves as always kind and loving towards themselves. And we have some that often are harsh and critical towards themselves, and some that seems to be a little bit in between.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is all a matter of practice, I would say. So we don't know how to be this loving towards ourselves from the beginning. So it's just it's a matter of practice.
Yeah. So we'll look into that a little bit. So
Yeah.
so if we look at personal development work and I mean starting to build more inner psychological safety, where could you start?
Yes, as we all already have been talking about, I would start with awareness, and to do it with an empathic and non-judging and curious approach. And with awareness, I mean to stop and to pay attention to what's going on in the present moment with an open mind.
Yeah. So we heard about a little bit about awareness and self-awareness and presence from the chat earlier on here. And what will we become aware of if we try to be that?
We will become aware of a lot of things. We will become aware of our feelings and our needs, our thoughts. Thoughts, there can be automatic thoughts that just are there in our brains, judgments, values we have that we might not agree upon, and also ideas, inspirational ideas. We could become aware of bodily sensations and our surrounding and the relation we have to it. And also a very interesting thing, I will become aware of me observing myself. So who am I? Am I the one who observes or the one who feels? Am I the one who thinks or the one who observes the thinking? And this is interesting because I'm not just the one who feels, I'm also the one who can relate to the feeling one. And talking about self-compassion, I would say that the way I choose to relate to myself will affect me a lot. So by practicing this, I can learn to become aware of myself, to take care of myself, to make conscious choices, and to develop a conscious self-leadership.
So what could stop me from being aware and curious about what's going on in the present moment?
I would say is one big thing that could stop me, and it's judgment. If I judge what I become aware of, it will be a very unpleasant thing to stay with it. I might feel shame and I want to go away.
So that I will like block it out of my awareness if I don't want to see it or sense
feel
it,
bad
or
about myself.
if I feel bad about it, if I judge it. Yeah. Okay. So how do I know if I'm judging myself then?
For example, I know that I'm judging myself if I feel low and tense, if I get stuck, And maybe you recognize this thing, even if I work hard, the result will be poor. And it's typical thing that happens if I judge myself. Self-judgment also makes me sensitive to criticism, and a lot more sensitive to criticism from other people. I might even hear criticism where there is no criticism. So, and I would say that self-judgment also makes us lose our coachability, because we shut down and withdraw and avoid showing ourselves to others because we feel shame. So it makes it hard to show up, feel trust, because we are under a constant threat of being judged. We lose our creativity and the willingness to connect with ourselves and with others. It just takes the joy out of everything. And I would say that the antidote to this is to practice self-compassion.
Yeah, I often recognize that I have a critical voice, like talking to myself when I judge myself. I heard that voice very much more a couple of years ago, and really tried to work on that and tone that voice down and to replace it with something else. And maybe that's self-compassion. What is self-compassion, if you would explain that?
Yeah, I will.
And how do I practice self-compassion?
Yeah, I think that voice that they're talking about, I think that's just a part of us trying to warn us from things that it thinks is dangerous. It just messes up dangerous and unpleasant. So it don't know what is dangerous and not. But practicing self-compassion, to do it, it means that you practice to accept and love and embrace yourself as you are. You might try to be your own best friend and supporter, maybe try to be your own best parent ever. You could try to see and understand yourself with kindness and trust. And an important thing is to try to trust yourself as good and worthy of love and connection. And if this is too difficult, you could just try to accept yourself without judging and without judging your own judging. That's a good thing to do. And you will be able to look at yourself with the curiosity and openness for whatever you see. You will get access to your creativity and joy, and you will feel connected with self-compassion practice. Self-compassion makes us coachable, and it also inspires responsibility.
Okay, so what do you mean with responsibility in this context?
Yeah, responsibility. With responsibility, I mean responsibility for feelings. I own my feelings. I don't project my feelings on other persons and make them responsible for my feelings. It also means that I communicate in a way that creates connection, as Emily talked about before. If I hold someone else responsible for my feelings, it will create disconnection and distrust, and we don't want that. And when I am connected to my feelings, I will also be aware of my needs and be able to express them in a responsible way. I will be able to find ways to care for my needs so that I can thrive and be my best self.
So could you give an example on when you communicate with a person in a way that makes the other person responsible for your feelings, compared to when you do it as you're aware of your needs and you communicate it in what you say is in a responsible way? What could be the difference?
Yeah, I would love to. And please, participant, you can notice what happens to you when you hear the two different examples here. Okay, the first way of doing it is to say like this: Lennart, you make me irritated. You're way too pushy. I need you to relax and to get off my back. And the other way of saying it could be, Lennart, I feel stressed. I have several projects going on right now, and I need more time before I can get back to you. Could we talk about this on Friday next week? So you can answer in the chat if you like. Did you notice a difference?
Yourself, yeah.
Yourself. And Lennart, did you notice a difference?
Yeah, I noticed a difference. I got more tensed, more defensive when you express yourself as you did with the first example. And the second example, I noticed that my breathing was much more easy, and I felt more open and also interested in what was going on, and curious about how I could engage in trying to engage in a dialogue with you instead of this disconnection that I felt the first time.
Yeah.
So do we hear some voices from the chat, Cindy, Magda?
Yeah, participants are typing in, Leonard. We got, when I hear the first one, I feel some anxiety in me. The first example, feel more shut down, and the second one, more open. And I like the second one too. It's moving from outward blaming versus inward assessment of the situation. The first one, the chat is moving very fast. Responsibility is the other one. Oh, there goes. Okay. My voice is too low.
Yeah, it's much better now. Great.
Yeah. The second example didn't give any chance, or the first example didn't give any chance to talk. The second one was more open. Second one, taking more personal responsibility.
Great. Okay, thanks. Yeah, it's a really big difference, and it was really notable.
Yeah.
Great. Okay. So sometimes I'm able to be aware of myself and identify my needs, and also able to express them in a similar way that you just did in your second example, Eva-Lotta. But sometimes I'm not. I don't get it really. I don't get there. So how can we use each other in those situations? Can we ask for help, or can we get help in any way?
Yeah, we can. If I don't know what to do, I could say perhaps like this, Lennart, I feel insecure about this project. I don't know how to handle the stress I feel. I need to get my stress levels down. Could you please help me to look into this? And that might be a vulnerable thing to say. I'll let you see me and I'll let you in. And vulnerability, to see and to be seen, is an important part of working together in a self-leading way. And self-compassion is important when we feel insecure and vulnerable. And everything about us is okay. We need to come back to that again and again.
So then we have this part of making the inner work to create more self-compassion and psychological safety within myself, and then it's also about how we interact with each other, how I meet you when you show up, and when you show vulnerability. So how can we support someone that asks for help in a good way?
Like Emily said in the beginning, we can offer kindness and care and acceptance to each other, as well as we respond to each other's need with a willingness to understand, really understand, and to serve. And also, as Emily said in the beginning, we can learn basic coaching skills to help the other person become aware of basic needs and identify how they can be met in different ways, I would say.
Yeah, good. Yeah, so so this is like working on becoming coachable, and also to be coaching and try to create that kind of culture, also try to support that kind of inner developmental work as a person, and also giving like tools and practicing in coaching approaches and stuff like that. So we've been talking a lot about that. There will be, of course, situations where I don't feel that my surrounding is meeting me the way I would need. There will also be situations where we have conflicting needs between myself and others, and we need to handle that. And there will also be situations where expectations between each other are not being met. And self-management, of course, means to be able to respond in these situations in an adequate way as well, of course. But we won't have so much time we won't have time to go deeper into that in this webinar, but we can at least say that the qualities that we have been mentioning here will be fundamental also in these situations, in order to be able to handle them in the best possible way. So I would like to sum up and involve you again, Emily, into the dialogue. So what kind of challenges have you experienced when you're working with developing a self-management oriented culture at Findwise, and how do you work with psychological safety in your organization?
Well, I will start off with the culture work again. I think that part is so important. And the challenge here is how can we actually work with the culture in an organized way, where employees actually see the value in the time and effort spent in this. And my experience is that this kind of work is often seen as something fluffy and intangible, and something that we shouldn't spend time on because it's hard to see the direct results. So the company values are printed on a wall in the hope that people will understand them and know what they mean and how they should guide them in the daily work. And for Findwise, it's been a journey to understand how we can work with the culture. And I will be humbled to the fact that we still have a lot to learn. And first of all, yes, we have the company values printed on a wall, but we have spent a lot of time trying to describe what they mean to us, as I said earlier in the presentation. And this was done in workshops where everyone was invited. And through collaboration, we ended up in the 3 values that I presented earlier. One thing that we are focusing on right now is to understand your personal values and drivers. So I know what's really important for me, to me, and to be able to describe those to other people with storytelling. So what I experience with this kind of work is that by allowing time for self-reflection and use storytelling as a tool to express my values to others, I can actually help create psychological safety both within myself and within a group. So yeah, I think the focus right now on the personal values is really key for us to be able to create that psychological safety.
Yeah, and can you say something more on how you work with your personal values and the storytelling part connected to that? How do you do that?
First of all, we are using a model called the 7 level of consciousness, which is a model created by a guy named Richard Barrett. And this is based on the Maslow's pyramid of needs. And this model helps you to identify and prioritize and do some self-reflections when it comes to your most important values. And when it comes to the storytelling part, what we have done is a really simple exercise. It's to take one of the values and describe the value, why it's important to you, and also add a situation or moment in life where you actually live this value. So just to take an example, a very important value for me is respect and being respectful. And this is very important for me because this is something that is from my culture. I'm originally from Japan, where respect is a really key value for that culture. So I expect the respect from other people. Otherwise, I feel insecure and I can't really open up to new people. So respect value is really important for me to be able to, you know, work the very best and also to be able to express myself.
Okay, great, thanks. And what would you say about the motivation for working with I mean, personal development at work among the people in your organization?
Well, it's I'm going back to this culture again. It's been a really important part of the culture to actually have these 3 values as guiding principles. And what I see here is that people actually expect that we put time on personal development, and I see a huge level of motivation from people because of that.
Great. And what kind of results have you seen during the years? What has been like the results from an organizational point of view at Findwise?
Well, I will go back to the theme for this webinar. I mean, this helps us to create higher level of psychological safety in organization. I also believe that we have a higher level of trust in organization, and we actually have better relationships with each other, so better collaboration, which is a result of that as well.
Great. And how do you work with this in recruiting situations? Are you very clear about the culture that you have and check if people are interested in joining in on these premises?
Yes. I mean, the culture part is super important. I mean, the competence part is something that you can learn once you are in the company, but you have to have the right, I mean, guiding principles and same values, so you can actually be aligned with the company and do a good work, and where you can actually feel that you are comfortable. So yes, the recruitment part where we have the values are super important.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. We will just sum up now. Then we will have a question for you guys, and then Magda will come in and just give you a notice, and then we will have the Q&A, and then we will be happy to answer any question that you might have. So just to sum up a few keywords from this session, we have talked about, of course, psychological safety and culture, but also about self-awareness. We have talked about self-compassion. We have talked about what awareness leads to. Leads to awareness about needs and other things, values, makes us able to take responsibility for that. And a way to do that is also to communicate. And it's also very much about feeling that there is a trust to do that. And that comes very much from how we are towards each other, and in what degree we are supportive, and in what degree we also invite people to be vulnerable and to share. And to what degree we are coachable in those situations. And as Emily also stressed a couple of times, is really to provide time for working with developing the culture and providing time for personal development at work. That's a crucial part of the whole thing. So, and here are a few references to things that we have mentioned. Psychological safety, Amy Edmondson. Please Google her and you will find interesting further reading about values. Barrett's Value Center is a great place to go if you're interested in that. And there is also free personal value assessments if you want to do that. You should also, if you haven't come across him already, Google Frederic Laloux and books that he has written, and also seminars that he has given on self-management and teal organizations, which are very interesting to learn more about if this is something that makes you curious. So now, before we end, we would just like to see with you guys what you bring from this webinar. And if you have any ideas on how you would like to use it. So we would be very happy to hear from you if you share in the chat box. And if Cindy and Magda would like to pick up what you take away from this webinar.
I'll go first. What I enjoyed most.
Speak up, Cindy.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Right? Yeah. So what I enjoyed and found very insightful in the dialogue between Eva and Leonard, and later with Leonard and Emily, and especially with when you were exploring with Eva, there was all these words on self emerging, you know, self accountability, self discipline, self compassion, those self expression, self acceptance. And I love how it kind of spotlighted the self versus what else is going on in all the environments around you, and now people are buying into that. I love the fact that it's spotlighted on self and the use of language. So many words on self kind of, for me, meant that participants can take away the words most resonating with them on self management. I mean, I loved listening to you and exploring the concept of self. It just expands and gives us so much more to work with versus paying attention to anything toxic around us.
Thank you, Cindy.
So the first question, Leonard, for you and your team, how can we build trust in our team?
How can we build trust in our team? Yeah, I can start on that one. Eva-Lotta and Emily, you can feel free to join in. I think one important part is to work on the psychological safety part. So one thing is that I start to be open and honest, and if I'm open and honest, and if that is met in a supportive and understanding way, which is not going to be attacking me, then that will create trust, and that will show that it's possible to be open and honest in this environment. So that's one part, I would say. But it will also build trust if I raise concerns, and if I hold you accountable for things that we have agreed upon, and that if we can resolve conflicts in a constructive and responsible and adult way, that will also build trust, because then we know that even if we are not, if we don't agree with each other, we are able to solve that in a good way. So that's two things that I would like to mention when it comes to that question. Eva-Lotta and Emily, would you like to fill in or complement that?
I think maybe practice awareness, all of you. Practice awareness about how you communicate. Practice awareness about what's going on inside of you, and how can you take responsibility for your own stuff, and how can you be empathetic towards the other person's stuff, the other person's inability to express himself or herself in a responsible way. Maybe if you practice empathy, you can see through criticism and things like that, and try to go connect on a deeper level, connect to the other person's feelings and need, and just try to be loving and kind, and maybe also talk about how do we want to talk with each other, how do we want to listen to each other, how do we want to communicate. So you try to create some kind of awareness in your group, I would say. Emily, would you like to add something?
Yes, I'm thinking about something that I'm quite sure many of you have heard before. to be a strong or good leader, you need to know yourself first before you can lead other people. So I think the self-awareness part, to get to know yourself first, to be able to collaborate with other people is the first step you need to take. And then I also think, and repeat what Lennart just said about the psychological safety part, that I think that is also one important part you need to work with and allow time for that as well, because that will also help you to build a trust in a group.
Yeah. And someone also said, I see here, the permission to fail, and that's of course very important. So I don't feel that that's something that is not okay, but that's an opportunity to learn. Yeah.
We'll take one from the chat, Leonard, and then you can decide whether you want to take any more. But this one sounds, yeah, let's take this. Many organizations do not support vulnerability and expects leaders to be infallible. How to change in that organization? How do we manage change in that organization?
That's a good question, really. Don't think there is a very simple answer on that, but I think that it is, of course, very important that leaders and managers in organizations lead by example when it comes to this, that they really show that it is okay to be vulnerable, and that they really get to know the value of creating that kind of culture or atmosphere or in an organization or in a team, and what the risks are if you don't, because then you will live in some kind of illusion of what's going on, because you will not hear the truth, you will not be connected to reality, you will end up being in the fog, and that's not a good place to be if you're going to be a leader in an organization. You want to know what's going on and being able to act upon reality, and I think it's really to get this through to leaders and managers. And I've seen so many good examples of that kind of shift, and what that makes in an organization. It really opens up for speed and development and courage and curiosity and creativity and all that.
And I would like to add something about vulnerability, because I see there are two kinds of approaching vulnerability, and they are completely different. The first way is to feel shame for the vulnerability. If you judge yourself for being vulnerable, it will be a very unpleasant thing to be, and you will not be willing to share it with other people. So shame-based vulnerability, we just want to avoid it because we don't want to feel shame. But there is another kind of vulnerability that is based on self-respect. And this self-respectful vulnerability is filled with love and care for oneself. And this vulnerability, it's completely different. It's open up for connection. I know I will never judge myself, so I can show this, and I need to show this because I'm at a point where I have the opportunity to grow. So I need to be vulnerable here because I won't grow if I don't start exactly where I am. So if I don't judge myself for feeling vulnerable, I can, with self-respect, tell people about it and grow. And it will create connection to myself. It will create connection between people. And it will actually turn out to be a pleasant experience. So I think this different kinds of approaching vulnerability are also crucial to how we relate to it.
Yes.
And yeah, I can also add something here. I agree with you both, and I really like the word that you used there, Lennart, lead by example, because I think that part is very important, that you do that as a manager, and that you actually show vulnerability. But there will be a challenge. And once again, it will take some time. I mean, I think also that you need to talk about what kind of behaviors and what kind of attitudes you want in the company to be actually the best, or where you can achieve the best for the company. So I think taking time to do this kind of reflections, invite people to talk about what kind of behaviors and attitude you want in a company, and as a manager, take those input and lead by example is stuff that you can do as well.
Yeah, if there's a need for more questions and answers, we can still spend a few more minutes on that. Otherwise, we will end the session basically. And then thank you all thank Coachara for inviting us. Of course, it's been a pleasure and honor, and to everyone who has participated, we really appreciate that you did that.
Thank you so much to all our panelists. If there are any additional questions, please feel free to email us, just contact@coacharya.com, or if you just go to coacharya.com, you can click on the little chat there, and I will happily pass on any questions to our panelists, and we can answer them on a blog. And later today, we will put up the video of this session along with the slides for anybody who wants to revisit anything that was said. So yeah, thank you so much for attending, everyone, and stay safe and stay inside and self-aware.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.